Hey folks, Elaine Marilakos Edelson here with Astrology Mojo. Want to help you get your mojo back. Okay, so if you're new to me, then you might not know that I say that the planets don't do anything to us. Yes, we live in a cooperation. Everything has a field of energy, and that is an influence. But the planets are not conscious of their movements unless you are of the sect of an originist, which they still do exist today. Uh, so you're not being controlled by the planets, but the definitions that have been assigned to the planets represent parts of us. So it's just one way, it's one lens, one way of looking at astrology and how it can better your life. I'm talking about transformational astrology, where you take your power back. And right now, today in October, we're going to be talking about the retrograde planets and what they represent. But before that, I just want to mention too that the NOAA, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, has posted a category G5. What is that? Well, when the sun has its ejections, solar mass ejection, corona mass ejections, we feel that frequency, and because we're so close to the sun, well, not a block away, but close enough to feel it. And during this time, even those of us who in the United States who live Texas, Florida, the southern states can see the aurora borealis if conditions permit without clouds or storms. And on top of that, this correlates to the Schumann resonance. It's the distance between mass and the frequencies between them. So, if you are in the metaphysical world, you would note this as a portal because you're able to grab the frequency and utilize it to up your vibe. So, and to move beyond judgment, blame, frustrations, to really step into a new timeline. And when I look at these retrograde planets, let me show you. When I look at the retrograde planets that we have, we're coming up on one in December in Mars. So I'm going to talk about that too briefly. But basically, these planets are retrograde. And well, the sun isn't a planet, and the north and south nodes are not planets, but they are always in retrograde. What this represents during this time, between October 10th today, 2024, through the 13th, expect technology to do things you haven't asked it to do. That includes telephones, tablets, cell phones, landlines, electrical gear and equipment that you have, of course, computers. So if you're looking to upgrade something, to find a solution to something, this might be the time to get the aha moment. That's why I say meditate, get present with it, instead of just immediately acting on this feeling of, I got to do something, and then rushing out before you contemplate. We want to be looking at extremes. When a planet goes retrograde, it's called station retrograde or station direct, it's not actually moving backwards. But when we are rotating around the sun, we're not in a circle. It's actually a spiral that moves in an elliptic plane. So it's like an oval. So we could be, like trotting along, and suddenly we go, hey, Saturn, see ya. Because it's going retrograde and moving at a different speed in its position in in relationship to the Earth. So it looks like something's moving backwards, but it's really not. So what it represents for us is stepping back. Retrograde is a Latin word. It means to step back. And when we look at the specific definitions of each of the planets that are now retrograde, let's start with Pluto, because soon on November 20th, it will leave retrograde motion. And when it does, it's in Capricorn now. And this is the last time in our lifetime that we will see Pluto in the constellation of Capricorn. So make the most of the last month that we have in it, especially if you're a Cap, Sun, Rising, or Moon, because the solution is at hand. The resolution is here if you are vibing and aligning with it. That's why I say utilize this corona mass ejection vibe, correlates to the Schumann resonance, where you can harness it, meditate, get out of your head, get out of the victim voice, and move more into a place that says, my needs are met. I may not know how, but I know that my needs are met because everything works out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for us. That there is a higher purpose to things. Now, does that help you if you're in physical pain? I don't know. Maybe not. I've been in physical pain and think, okay, in the past, I would say, this totally sucks. And I hate that this happened and wallow in that part of me. But I now know that if I am in physical pain or emotional pain, pain is pain, regardless of degree or location in the body or the mind. Now I say, it's time to rest. My needs are met. Everything's being taken care of. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to meditate, watch a funny show, nap, meditate again. So that we're taking our choices, which is what the planets represent, and Pluto represents core transformation. TNT for the psyche, I like to call it. So, what part of your life right now has been in that, oh, I can't believe this is happening again? Or, wow, I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I thought it was going to be worse than it actually is. So, take a look at some areas depending on where Pluto is in Capricorn in retrograde in your world. That's going to lighten up. And on the global stage, not just United States or international, but every part of this planet is undergoing some sort of transformation. It's constant. We never stay the same. Energy does not stop moving. There could be glacier melts. There could be new species discovered. There could be an outbreak of some virus somewhere. There could be a data breach. There could be an amazing aha or a series of them that takes you to the next place. If you are already in the frequency, in the vibe of my needs are met, something's going to come into your world, your awareness, your dream state via email, a text message, the phone, knock at your door, a flyer, snail mail, because you are vibing a frequency of solution. Are you vibing a frequency of solution? That even if you can't figure it out, it's coming, and getting excited about it ahead of time. I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled that I get giddy. I get that like I'm on a one of those little, not a roller coaster because that would make me nauseous, but one of those little things where you used to kind of whirly gig and you'd go around and you spin and you go, oh my God, this is so fun, right? Like a teacup ride. So when we are looking at places in our world and we say, yeah, things are pretty good. I feel good. I know, I made that phone call. I paid that bill. I got that letter. I got that email. Everything's working out. And then you see on the global stage, oh my gosh, there's a hurricane. Let's not move into victim mode or project victim. You have the power to uplift with your energy. Your DNA is encoded. You have the angel atom in your system. So let's everybody take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, focus, especially now between October 10th and 13th, and focus on areas of the world that might need a little more assistance. Hurricanes, floods, volcanoes, disease, famine, drought, whatever is happening in the world, we can help to uplift. Simply by focusing that needs are met, that maybe over a series of fires, that there's a wet blanket put over that fire, that there is a bubble of protection for the people and animals and plant life. We have this power. And you can take 5 to 10 minutes a day and contribute to that. I think that's a beautiful thing. Okay, so Pluto goes to core. Where can you upset something in your world that says, I got to change it up. I'm switching it up. I was going to, what? I think I'm going to retire early. Yep. I'm going to give my notice in 6 months or 4 months or whatever. I'm going to create a plan of action. I'm going to look at how things can go. Pluto, core transformation. Move this over. Come say hello to me as I talk about core transformation and natural disasters. Come say hello to me. Oh, okay. Look, our daughter made this button for me. It's all kinds of squash. Isn't that the cutest? That's their Etsy site, Son Marcello. A little plug for the kid. Okay. Now, let me look at my notes. We've got on November 15th, even before Pluto goes direct and then moves into the sign of Aquarius, we're going to be talking about that in weeks to come. We have Saturn, which represents authority figures, the framework, the architecture of the building where love, education, healing, business, industry are created. It's in the sign of Pisces, retrograde at 13 degrees. So if you know where Saturn is in Pisces retrograde in your chart, you're going to look at, okay, I've been thinking about something, about the order of things. I've been thinking about who's the boss of me. I've been thinking about, I feel too much pressure. I have to give up the control. Oh, is that what I've been doing? I thought I was just helping. I thought I was supporting, and there I was taking it all on. All right. So if we have that God complex, that martyr complex, where it's like, that's okay. I got it. Give it to me. I'll put it on my shoulders. Then this is where you've been ruminating on letting that go and becoming more spiritual, more in tune. Pisces is that sign guided by Neptune, also retrograde in Pisces. These two are kind of hanging out together in the same sign, in the same constellation of Pisces, saying, am I addicted to anything? Do I hide under the covers when, decision time comes and I just can't make a decision because I don't want to make the wrong one? What if I've had all these expectations and I have been disillusioned beyond belief? And then the victim's voice begins. See, told you. You shouldn't have, collaborated with that team, that person. Shouldn't have loaned them money. You knew what was going to happen. And so we want to watch the sarcasm, the cynicism, and be aware of the extremes. The extremes are when you polarize to one side because of a belief system. And a belief system is no more a thought than a thought that you continue to think over and over again and think that it's true. And it may not be true, or it may just be true and validated in the moment that it's happening. And then you make it a lifelong endeavor to say, yeah, that was true. I make this much money. The government takes half. That's true. Well, maybe not. Well, maybe not. I spoke to someone yesterday and she said she had mold in her apartment. And I said, well, you go to the landlord with that, or the landlady. Oh, what a person. They never do anything. They never. Okay, stop. How about these are your rights? It's a health issue, and put a different spin on it. My needs are met. My needs are met. So if you are drawn to go to the negative, it's not going to work. Why bother? Can you believe people voting for that person? How stupid they are. Okay. When the judgments come out, you're in a place of resistance and in a lower vibe. No judgment on you for doing that. We all do it at some point, but raise your vibe. You want to make this world a better place? Think about the thoughts you're thinking. Now, as far as astrology goes, Saturn and Neptune are the two karmic planets. Stop right there. Karma is not retaliation for something you did or someone else did 5,000 years ago in Pakistan. No. Dharma is the path. Karma is the action upon the path. And you've been thinking and rethinking and pondering, is that the route I want to continue to take with that person with these thoughts and feelings in that industry, with that group? Is that how I want to continue? And who's the boss of me anyway? And what do I believe? What at my core is my sustenance? Where do I gather my resources energetically? Well, if it's not internally through meditation, tapping into your divinity, your source, your pure conscious love, then it's going to be temporary. And I'm not a religious person, but I am religious about my spirituality and understanding that the source of all things is not judging you, dictating terms, or showing you an agenda that you're rebelling against. No. Heaven and hell right here. Make it work. You know what hell's like. They haven't changed the wallpaper. So move, So it's time to move that energy when, okay, let me look at my notes again. November 15th, Saturn will move direct. And by then, you might have an inkling of, and this is where the extremes come in. And it can be just a tiny dot, moving one dot, and that's a quantum leap. One dot to the next. I was thinking about that job and the pension, and I think I'm going to apply for that grant so I can go back to school and do that thing. I think that's what I'm going to do. Or I don't know if this belief system is working for me anymore. I think I might have to reconsider. I've been reading some books, talking to some people. I'm emotionally, intuitively drawn towards something else. So that can be an indication big time, because the more you are in tune with your vibration and your feeling, the more you're going to get the clues and the doors will open. Because if you're in a grouchy Oscar the Grouch place of it's never going to happen and they take all my money and blah blah, but the invisible door is not, you're not resonating the same frequency as that door. But as soon as you say, but I trust, even though this stuff has happened, I trust that my needs are met. So you're moving more toward vibing with a frequency that can alter worlds, your world. And then there's more. Wait, there's more. And then I said Pluto goes direct on the 20th. So we've got Saturn and Pluto going direct in the month of November, along with, wait a minute, Neptune. Okay, so Neptune is where cynicism and addictions go hand in hand. Zealots as well, thinking, nope, that's my religion. That's the only way it works. That's my politics. That's the only way. This is my belief. That's the only way. Or, oh my gosh, I believe in tarot and crystals and magic. And then there are no boundaries, because you are not seeing your own worth or value and saying it'll all work out beautiful. But if someone's robbing you, cheating on you, harming you, there needs to be a boundary. In this physical plane of existence, there needs to be a boundary. And that boundary comes with, dare I say it, conditions. And here are the conditions. We are all one energy. Then we come to this world and we branch off into different personalities so that we can create our own reality. And what do we want that to look like? And then sometimes it's too harsh, so we drink some wine or take some edibles, or go for the easy road instead of just dealing with the basics. So wherever Neptune in Pisces is in your chart, I want you to look at, what do you value about your frequency, your energy, your spirit? Your beliefs will come into question, so that by the time December 7th rolls around, when Neptune goes direct in Pisces, you're going to say, wow, that was rough. I went through rehab, or I retired, or I had to say goodbye to some people. And it doesn't mean those things were horrible or toxic. It doesn't mean any of that. It could. It just means you're no longer resonating the frequency of that thing, industry, belief system, person, whatever it is. I hope this is helping you, because the ideal vision is what Neptune is all about. Saturn, we got to set some boundaries. We got to know who's the boss. And so I could set the framework and not take on the self-flagellation if something goes wrong. Too much responsibility. Here's the responsible part. Responsibility is the ability to respond to how you feel in the moment. Own it. I feel crappy. Okay. Do you want to stay here? No, but it feels good to be righteous, or it feels good to be a victim because it's familiar. Okay, well, do you still want to stay here? No, not really. Okay. Then you come out of illusion and you say, I want to create a reality that people tell me, you want to be a what? An artist in today's economy? You want to be a what? An astronaut? Are you kidding me? We don't have that kind of money to send you to space camp. So whatever negativity or cynicism has come and crashed on your sensitivity, now is when you've been ruminating over and over and saying, I just want to learn how to play the violin. I know it's weird. Our kid came to us, Aaliyah, when they were in grammar school. And I think they were like 9 or 10. And said, I want to learn how to play the trumpet. Okay. So we rented one and they learned how, and I got them lessons from one of the leaders in Flagstaff at the Philharmonic. I was like, okay, any particular? And then they went into a competition and they aced something that was so hard to play and they did it. And then for a gift for Christmas for me, I think they were 12 or 13. One of my favorite audio pieces, sound pieces, is the PBS. This whole thing. And so they played it on the trumpet, made a recording, gave it to me, and then they were like, yeah, I'm done. Okay. Was that, yeah? Should we sell because by then we bought the trumpet. It's like, I don't know. We can keep it. Maybe later, maybe another time. So and I love that. It's like, this is what I want to do. Can we do this? Sure. Not, all right, if we buy this is going to be your career. We didn't put that kind of stuff on our kid. Or we paid for this, you better practice. We didn't put that kind of stuff. It's like, if this makes you happy, why not? How fun. So no matter how obtuse something may present itself to you, to travel, to experience a new, different type of ideology or culture, or suddenly you're getting into your dream state. You're like, I don't dream. Well, you might now. So as Neptune moves forward, you're deciding what frequencies resonate with you and which ones don't. And coupled with Saturn and Pluto, you've been digging deep on finding those patterns where you keep repeating something that doesn't bring satisfaction. So if people are leaving your life, if you're leaving their lives, if you are changing careers, if you're thinking about a different way of being, of eating, of interacting with the world, with yourself, belief systems, perceptions, all of it across the board, this is big stuff. We see it on the world stage. It's coming out as up. There's a war coming up. There's another war coming up. Here comes more. Is this going to be a World War III? Like, what is happening out there? Okay, we're not going to buy into the rhetoric in the media because they are sponsored by people who want to direct the narrative. Your narrative is your own. Create your own reality. So when Neptune and Saturn and Pluto are all direct by December 7th, right? Yeah. And Pluto will be direct in Aquarius. Saturn also direct in Pisces. Neptune direct in Pisces. During that time frame, you're going to suddenly feel like something's different. I want to get involved. I want to be more prudent about how I spend my time, my energy, my money. I would like to be more dedicated and feel like I am responding to my own feelings and my own intuition and opening up to something, not making it be the final thing. I had a dream that this happened. Now this is going to happen. Maybe. Have you studied dreams? There's 5 types of dreams. And one of them I would call lucid dreaming, which isn't really a dream. It's being in a different dimension, a different space and time, but you see the actuality and you're present with it. So gather all your information during these retrogrades, continue to gather. They go retrograde every year, approximately the same time. So if that's new to you, think back. When was the last time Neptune was retrograde? A year ago? For 6 months, 5 months? What was I pondering then? What was I overcoming? What was I getting over then? What was I burying myself in videos? Was I taking yet another course that I would never apply in the world? Was I just getting lost and sidetracked? Or was I dedicating myself to a practice, a way of being, a belief system? The next retrograde that we are looking at is well, we're going to talk about Mars going retrograde. It's not retrograde now, but currently Jupiter is retrograde until, did I not write that down? I have to look that one up. I think that's May or June. Jupiter retrograde 2024. Oh, through February 4th. Okay, so Jupiter is going to be retrograde through February 4th. And Jupiter represents that cultural spark that, what language is that? I want to go travel. I'd like to write a book. I want to get further into my meditative studies. I want to fulfill some contracts. Now, no, you didn't come to this earth with contracts. You didn't. You came with an idea of creating a reality. There's no have-tos when you get here. You decide what you want. You might, before you get here, you might say, I would really like to experience living in that part of Earth and then becoming a musician or an author or an educator or a political activist or a scientist, whatever you choose. And then you get here and you say, I think I'm going to change my mind. I still like that, but look at that over there. I didn't know that was possible too. And it feels good, or it feels righteous, or it feels whatever it feels. Jupiter is all about expansion and different ideologies, education, publishing. Bigger than that, as it guides Sagittarius, it is about traveling, but it doesn't have to be about physical travel. It can be about exploring different philosophies, different religions, different spiritual practices. It can be about the expansion. Now, if we expand too much with the Jupiter vibe, because Jupiter's not doing it to us, but we do it to us. Wow, that chocolate's good. I could just have one more piece. I know I was on a diet, but what's 6 more pieces of candy? It's okay. I'll start working out tomorrow. So when Jupiter is retrograde, you're pondering the contracts that you have agreed to on this planet, not prior to getting here. There are no contracts. None. You're freed. When you get here and you say, I'm going to learn this thing, I'm going to go to school, and how many people, and I've heard this, I've heard everything I believe on this planet. I've heard, while I was walking down the aisle, I realized I didn't want to marry this person. So what did that particular person do? They stayed in the marriage for 1 year. Another person said, oh yeah, I'm getting married to that person. A month later, annulment. Because deep down, they were resistant to something. They weren't listening to themselves. When you're in a contract now, you might be pondering, should I give it? They promised this amount of work or this amount of benefits, and I've been given it a certain amount of time, but I don't know. Do I stay? Do I go? All right, let me just give it till, and then you put a time on it. Let me just give it till the first of the month or the end of the month. And if I don't see progress, and I've gone to the supervisor, or I've gone to the administrator, I've gone to the head of the company and said, this isn't working for me. And they say, oh, just hang out. We're installed, because they're in retrograde too. We're installing a new type of system. Today, I'm hearing all this noise outside, just as I was preparing for this Facebook Live, YouTube Live. And I'm hearing an engine and a motor and a hose. And I go outside and there's the waterworks people. My neighbor is standing there and I'm like, oh, is there a problem with your pipes? No, say the waterworks people. We are refitting all of the old uh, uh, dials with digital ones. So, oh, okay. I wonder how that will impact. Will there be less water waste? That's a big issue here in Arizona. Will the prices raise? We don't know. So we're in flux in a lot of ways. So contracts are changing. We said to one company, oh, this was a couple of weeks ago, we're going to be out of town. Can you come the day after we get back? Oh, sure, no problem. Well, the day before we left, they showed up. So it's like, okay, well, we had a bunch of cancellations. We had to fill in. So things are constantly revolving and changing, and you don't know where the solid ground is. With Jupiter, you have an idea, you have an inkling, you definitely have a feeling. And in the sign of Gemini, in retrograde, it's that feeling of, I looked at all the facts, I looked at the data, but their language is not reflecting what I've researched. I have to get clear on this. I have to go over the contract again. I have to ask for that raise. And it also depends where Jupiter in Gemini is retrograde in your world and in your chart. So for everyone, it will be different. This is a lot. This is a general. This is live, yes, but this is general. So when we're looking at Jupiter, we want to also look at, I always wanted to write a book. I always wanted to give a talk on stage. Always wanted to learn a different language. Well, do you still? And it's okay if you don't. Or maybe you buy the program, but you never open it until, the next retrograde or the next time you ponder doing this thing. So instead of judging yourself and being too critical, think about the feeling that change, that moment you go from this to this. What is that feeling state? Oh, my hair's sticking up. Green screen. Quasar. That is the spark right there where you change your mind. And what's happening when you're changing your mind? It's based on the outside circumstance, what comes your way. You flip channels or you go outside. And all right, what I like to tell my clients is you're walking down the street and you see a man and he's attacking a dog and you scream, somebody get the police. Oh my gosh. Harm, you bastard, and then you realize he's standing in front of a baby carriage and he's protecting his child from a mangy dog, a rabid creature. And you're like, what a hero, get the news, So your thoughts and emotions will swim. Your thoughts will change as soon as your emotions swim in a new direction. So you want to get really clear on what you believe and why. And are you sure it's true? Let's rethink some of these things. Oh, I'm writing a book and I am writing. I'm on my third one and I'm editing. I'm almost done with the first draft of edits. And my editor said very gently, oh, gee, I'm hoping that within the month I can see another draft. I'm so looking forward to that. And I'm like, okay, it's coming. And so then I look at my schedule and I'm thinking, do I need to be cleaning out the closets right now? No. It was my impulse. And I thought, well, why? Well, because you said to myself, you said you were going to that and then donate. And then, okay, but the donation thing doesn't come up for another 2 weeks. So could you possibly be using this time for something more productive? So watch your impulses and your beliefs and the thing that triggers those beliefs because they're changing or they need to so that you're not in an extreme. Because if you're polarized on one side, the other side is going to swing like a pendulum and hit you in the face and go, "Oh, I didn't know that was possible." And why would they do that? Why would they put that on the ballot? Why would my neighbors do that? Why would the county do that? Why would the government do? Why would the planet do? Why are people doing that? And so then we want to get, villagers with burning torches because Jupiter also represents judgment. So whatever it is you are judging, put the focus on something positive. Even though that's happening and it's validating that I have less of, because this thing, they just, their ration, oh, there was a recall on meat, and I was just going to have a barbecue, so whatever is happening, say, all in my best, for my highest good or better. And as the collective Abraham would say, channeled through Esther Hicks, I'm going to reach for the best feeling thought, this or something better, this or something better, so that we are expanding, which is Jupiter's definition, expanding on that which is appropriate for us. Say the thing about controlling impulse and belief again. Okay, I don't know what I said. A lot of times I just channel it. But if you have impulses that make you want to do one thing when you know, and your body's just saying very calmly, your intuition saying calmly, you do have to be somewhere in an hour, and you just decided to mow the lawn. Let's rethink that. So that means you're spinning. That means you're going off in many directions to get things done, to be ahead of it, because you're catching you, because you got to get there, because you got to stay in control, because you got to get it done, because nobody else, who else is going to do it? And then comes the victim's voice. So an impulse, and an urgency, unless the building is on fire or your life or someone else's life is in danger, an impulse is a way of skirting the issue, of resisting what's true, of getting calm, of sitting down and taking 3 to 5 minutes to be present. Everything can get done that much faster when you sit down, you meditate on needs met, on inhale, exhale, being centered in the fact that you are pure conscious love. And does that thing have to get done right now? Do you need to go take the garbage out when you're about to take a shower because you have to get to work? Well, but the garbage, what? When does the garbage come? It comes tomorrow, but you have to take it out now. It's a long time ago when our kid was 25. When our kid is 25, but a long time ago when they were 4 or 5, we'd get them off to this little Montessori group. Suddenly, I noticed the swirl, and it's always what made me crazy. And I didn't realize it until I did. And that was the moment. And every parent out there knows, it's like when you're like, come on, we got to get there. Okay, come on, let's put our shoes on. Okay. And the kids get distracted, or I wanted that snack, not that one. Okay, fine. So we understand that happens. But once that was all said and done, and my kid had the shoes on and the snack bag and everything was good to go, my husband would come in and throw something at me. Well, we have to get the taxes done tomorrow, and I would be like, oh, okay, I gotta get Aaliyah to whatever. And so then the rush would begin and the swirl. And then I would say, or I would do that to my husband just before I was about to complete something that had to get done, the most immediate thing. And when I recognized this pattern, and we talked about it, and I said, let's not throw anything new into the mix right before something needs to occur. If the garbage people are coming tomorrow morning, let's set a timer and a reminder to take out the garbage tonight. Why double up on things? I think it was Tony Robbins who once said a long time ago, chunk. You do the chunking method. And the chunking method is if you have a list of errands and you're on the road, and Jupiter also represents being on the road, and you're just, as it comes up, you're like, oh, I got to stop at that store. And you do. And then it's, oh, but I got to go to that store. Then you go to the light, you turn around, you come out, you go, but wait, I have to go up there. So it's like, if you can stay on one side of the road, stay in your lane, one side of the road, and get the 3 stores done on that side, and then turn around and get the stores done on this side, or however it needs to work logistically, so that you are saving time and energy. Because with Jupiter retrograde, we can become scattered or hyper-focused. Which one would you prefer? Neither. I would like to be focused on the things that are most important. And sometimes I will talk to my universal angels and team and spirit and say, if you can show me the order of my wisdom, please show me the order of things, because I'm feeling a little scattered right now. And I know when I'm feeling scattered, my heart gets a little anxious. I forget to eat or drink nutrients, or I'm running and I feel stiff or achy. So then I'll stop and I'll rest and say, I'm just taking 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I'm just going to sit right here. I'm going to look out the window. I'm going to watch the birds. I'm going to look at the trees moving in the breeze. I'm going to close my eyes and take 3 deep breaths and get present. Without this body, we are not here in the same way, experiencing the sensations that we love. So between now and February 4th, when Jupiter goes direct, it is still retrograde. Let's ponder all the things that we think are necessary and must be done because we have to pay a bill, or we have to get to the dentist on time, or, that kind of practical 3D world stuff. But also add to that list on the other side things in between those things, like remember to go to the bathroom before you leave the house. Remember to brush your teeth or to care for your body. If you know you're going to be away for a few hours and you have a blood sugar issue, bring some food, not like a quick snack bar or a piece of candy on the road. That's not helping the issue. So let's be more organized with the order of things so that we are not wasting that energy. And then by the time we get home, we're like, oh, that's it. I'm done. That's an extreme. We're not going to extremes, because if we do, we lose the sense of ourself, our intuition, and what can actually occur next. We're up in our vibe to resonate a frequency to attract and draw to us the things that we want the most. Better health, more money, better relationships, all that stuff. Wealth, health, passion, purpose. So what would you like to do? Are you a Heyoka? Okay, so are you a backwards clown? That's what I used to be called by people around here a long time ago. Come in with an important message. Turn around and laugh, knowing that let's just be present. Let's just care. Let's just be kind. Okay? So once Jupiter then goes retrograde, then we're looking at Uranus. I did this backwards, but Uranus is a Greek word. Urano means the heavens, cosmos. Urano, Uranus. Uranus is in Taurus, and Uranus represents science, technology, eclectic, rebellion, unusual, out of the blue. Also astrology and the technology that we would use to better our lives. Now, hundreds of years ago, technology was a pulley to get the bucket out of the well. That's technology. So it's not just something you plug into electricity. It's utilizing the frequencies and the waves that are here. That's why I talk about things like Schumann resonance, or that I talk about we're having a category G5 corona mass ejection, October 10th through October 13th. And that means those waves and those magnetic electric energies coming right at the earth are going to affect technology, the electricity in your body, brain waves, patterns, feelings, also with animals and pets and plant life. So just be extra present. And if you suddenly feel the urge to go do something, you look and see, where is Uranus in my chart? Uranus is not the planet doing something to you, but it is unusual energy and frequency. So if you can align with it, I have all my tuning forks set to go. I do them anyway every day. And I chant and I meditate. I do a lot of Dispenza meditations, have been to his programs. But before that, I was meditating every day for 40 years. And then when I incorporated something new and different 2 years ago, I thought, well, now I'm like, my head got turned. It's like, I'm ready for Joe, Dr. Joe Dispenza. So I did his online stuff, and I found I got frustrated during one of his meditations. I got frustrated in a meditation because the way he phrases things, the way it sounds, he pushed at my judgments. And then I came out of that room after that 10-minute meditation and I hugged my husband and I cried. And he said, "Are you okay? I thought you were meditating." And I said, "Yeah, but I'm looking to go beyond my comfort zone in a meditation too, and to activate parts of my body that's thousands of years old knowledge that the Anunnaki had, that the Egyptians carried along, and that is to activate the cerebral spinal fluid going up the spine using the perineum and then activating the pineal gland." And I cried because I was in a safe zone of meditation. Now, now I can fly without leaving my body. I used to have to leave my body in order to fly. So that was my revelation with Uranus in Taurus, and I'm a Taurus. So it was like, what can we do that's new? What can we do that's different? And in astrology, I used to believe that the planets did something to us until I didn't. And then realized, oh my gosh, we're the ones. We have the power. So when Uranus is retrograde until January 30th, 2025, let's look at the parts of you that are resistant to doing something new. Just do it in small ways. I've done this before. If you cross your hands and you notice, oh, my left thumb is over my hand, the next time you cross your hands, put your right thumb over and change it up. If you typically put on your socks on the right foot first, do it on the left side. If you wake up and you have the same routine every day, and I remember, I guess it was like 20 years ago, I was doing a workshop. And a lot of what I've learned through, as I started out as a trans channel, but a lot of what I learned through other channelers, and also the science part is what I really went to Joe Dispenza for. So I understood the science of my spirituality. That was mind blowing. And that is the same as defining Uranus in the sign of Taurus, making it practical. How can I utilize that? Well, I help my clients with that. I help myself with that. I know that if because my hemoglobin A1C is below a certain number, 5.5, that intermittent fasting doesn't always work for me. And it makes me backed up and it depresses me. But then I did it for 3 years, not understand, well, all the experts say intermittent fasting. It's like, but I have to go with my body chemistry, science. So in incorporating the scientific aspect with my spirituality has upped my game. Do we get that? Music. Uranus also represents music and vibration. So utilizing frequencies, whether it's tuning forks or singing or humming or playing an instrument. You cannot be depressed if you're humming. It's not possible for your brain to do that. And so learning these things and hoping that you can have already know them, and if not, are learning them, and if know some, that you could utilize new techniques to help you expand your frequency, and also look at how you can make it a practical, valuable thing. Yes, it has to do with finances as well and where you put your money. But before you even make the money, you're vibing a vibe that's going to bring the money or keep it from you. So let's start at the beginning. I suddenly want to burst into the sound of music. It's a very good place to start. Okay. So these retrogrades that represent the parts of us that are ruminating over, we're pondering, we're weighing and judging, we're looking at this side, that side, what's in between. I'm confused. I don't know what to do. I'm just going to check out for a while and watch West Wing all over again, or New Amsterdam. That show makes me cry every single day because it's the third time I've watched it. And every time I watch it, I just start crying. I can't. That is so sweet. Oh my God. Shelby, you sang with me. Thank you. So I'm going to pull a card for folks. I'm briefly going to talk about Mars going in retrograde in Leo, and that is going to be on December 6th in Leo. Mars represents momentum. So if there have been things that have been escalating global stage, more war, more whatever, people breaking into factions to defend which side, how about we defend humanity? How about we defend kindness and compassion? Let's go there. What is the kindest thing? People will say to me, you vote for that party? Well, I declare as independent because I have the right to vote for whoever I want to, and nobody's going to make me think I have to. And and so, but I'll say, "Oh yeah, I voted for that candidate for this issue." And they're like, "Why?" And I gave my reasons. But then I vote for that candidate in that party for those reasons. So if there's a county supervisor that did not do the job they were meant to do, that we voted them to do, I'm going to go. So I met the other county supervisor that was running, had a nice long chat, loved the vibe. Okay. Then I sent my husband over. You might want to meet this person. So I look at things individually based on what is the greatest good, not and people have this expectation, by the way, I don't talk politics, but I'm just going to say this. People have this expectation that a president is supposed to do everything. No, that would be a dictator. And usually a dictator is in rule to serve themselves first. So the way our government is set up is it has to go through this faction, Congress, Senate, this side, bipartisan, polarized, veto. There's only so much power that any one person has. So it's a collective. It's about working together, which is in any industry. You have a community. We had house fires here, let's say 10 years ago. One house burned through an electrical lightning storm, and another house caught fire. So I ran because my mother's house was next door, and she had lived through two house fires. So what I did was I calmly told her, "Do you smell the smoke? Are you okay?" Yes. So she gathered her valuables, and I said, "You're going to come to my house," which was 3 minutes away in the opposite direction of the breeze. And then I told my kid and her friend who was hanging out, they were like 12 or 13 or something. And I said, "Listen, there are two kinds of people in this world when it comes to tragedy: the people who gape and want to make stories out of it, and the people who help. Just know which one you are. And if you're the one that's not going to help, then step aside. That's all. There's no judgment on it. Just know which one you are. And it's okay. There's no judgment. If you don't want to help because you're scared or you don't know how, step aside." So my husband and I went, and I was asking neighbors who were standing there with phones, and the woman and her baby and the dog are getting what they could out of their house while the other half was burning. And I asked people who were in the way, "Please step aside unless you're going to help, and find a bucket." One guy was on the roof with a hose, and he's next door, and he was, because his house was next. And so doing that, knowing that if you are someone who's going to take action, please don't turn around and judge the people who don't. And if you are someone who knows that you're too afraid to take action, that's okay too. Just step aside. And if anything, the least amount you could do, instead of putting worry and fear on it, is put love on it. That's a blanket that serves us all. So I'm going to end here today on that. We'll talk more about Mars going retrograde in Leo, because our momentum's going to slow down, and we're going to ponder, do we really want to come out sideways passive aggressively? Because it'll be moving into Cancer. Do we really want to just hold our anger and then kaboom, hurl it at somebody? I don't know if that's the way to go. Let's everybody hold hands and sing Kumbaya. I'm going to pull one card before I go, because I have a team marketing meeting coming up in 4 minutes. Okay. Thank you for being here, folks. Oh, I like this card. Thank you for being here. As always, I wish you peace. Okay, so what's the card that came up? Oh, by the way, this is the Rebecca Campbell, Danielle Noel, the Starseed Oracle. And the card that came up is "You're Not Alone." physical connection and community. So let's move out of that thing that you think you're doing this all by yourself, because you're not. You're not. La 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 la. All right, folks. I'll be back next week. I have to check Facebook. What are we talking about? What are we talking about next week? Oh, Venus and Sagittarius is coming up next Thursday. Okay, folks, thanks for being here. Thank you always for support, for sharing, liking, subscribing, and I'll see you next time.